Welcome to Beyond the Bleachers with Grace McQuaid, your all-access pass to the world of college football and college basketball. From game day rivalries and bracket busters to behind-the-scenes stories that go deeper than the final score, we are breaking it all down. So grab your seat because the action doesn't stop when the clock hits zero. This is Beyond the Bleachers. Welcome everybody to another show of Beyond the Bleachers with your host, Grace McQuaid. It's great to have you guys here. I'm just going to start off the show by saying this. What a week of college football. This is what college football is all about. This is why we love the game. This is why we're all here listening. We love college football, and this is just one of those random Octobers every year we have where there's just these upsets that nobody saw coming. UCLA comes out of nowhere, 0-4, and led by their interim head coach, take the win against a top 10 Penn State team. Quite just an insane week all around. We're going to recap all those games. Let's get right into it. Starting off with the Mississippi State at Texas A&M game, I had a 6 out of 10 on the upset alert scale. I didn't expect much. I predicted a 34-20 A&M game. I was way off. It was 31-9. That A&M defense was just a lot more elite than I expected it to be, holding Mississippi State to 219 total yards. That is very legit, and that just shows what an elite team can do, especially when they're at home at College Station. The big home field advantage for the Aggies. In this game, Blake Shapen just couldn't do anything at all. Couldn't get his run game going. Couldn't pass the ball. He was 15 for 20, only 140 yards and one interception. They were forced to run the ball. And their starting running back had 14 carries for 60 yards. So not very good game for him. Fluff Bothwell. There was just no room for him to run in this game. And he was averaging 4 yards a carry. The D-line for A&M just looked great, as we had Damian Sanford with 2 sacks in this game. He had a great performance. 2 TFLs, I take that back, 1 sack. Still a great game, as well as Cassius Howell with 3 TFLs, all sacks in this game, and a pass breakup. So this D-line was just really getting to the quarterback in this game. Mississippi State really struggled on the O-line. So yeah, that was the ultimate win for the Aggies in this game, and the main reason they won this game. We're going to move on to the Texas Tech. Actually, no, we're going to go back to the A&M game for a bit. Mario Craver, once again, his speedy talent, 6 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown. He showed off his speed again. Le'Veon Moss couldn't get the run game going as he was only averaging 3 carries, 3 yards a carry, but then Ruben Owens, the backup, had an amazing game. 21 carries, 142 yards. Nobody saw this coming, as I was only aware of Le'Veon Moss for the running backs, but another just surprise for the Aggies this season, as they've really proved an elite team with 480 total yards against a Mississippi State defense that's been, pretty solid. They only allowed 20 points to Arizona State in their win versus them earlier this season. Casey Conception again had a pretty good game, 4 catches, 60 yards, and 2 touchdowns. These wide receivers for A&M have been elite. I can't say it enough. They don't have much outside the 2 guys, but still, that's all you need, really. Casey Conception's a starter at any other team, even if they're a Power 4 team. So yeah, wide receiver core has been great for A&M. As well as Marcel Reed getting his run game going finally this year, as that was his only dimension last year that he could do. He could only run it last year. Now he can run and pass. He had 6 carries, 30 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Now we're moving on to Texas Tech at Houston. I had a 35-11. 35-11 was the score. Texas Tech won this game. My prediction was 45-21 Texas Tech. But once again, the defenses prove it to me. Texas Tech's defense just completely locked up Connor Weidman in Houston to this week, as they had to go to their backup, Zion Chris. He had a rough game. The quarterback could just get nothing going. This was just a great defensive game from the Red Raiders. They held Houston to 267 yards. So not much for them. Houston's been averaging around 27 points a game this year, and that defense just completely stopped all sights of anything. an elite game from Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker. He had 2 TFLs and an interception in this game, as well as 2 pass breakups. So there's an elite game from him as well. And also an interception from Brendan Jordan. So Texas Tech's all-around pass defense has been legit this year, and they continue it. David Bailey, once again, this guy will be a high pick in this upcoming draft. He had 3 sacks in this game. He was really looking good in the transfer portal this year, and I was hoping for my Buckeyes to get him, but Texas Tech with their money got him, and man, have they been good with him. The run offense for Houston was also just not there. It was quite invisible in this game. All around, just Texas Tech dominated with 550 yards. These guys could have scored a lot more touchdowns. They were 7 for 8 in the red zone, so yeah, they had 1 red zone trip without it and a turnover. But man, all around passing and running. Baron Morton, 345 yards passing. Absolute legit quarterback, as he is 15th in college football in yards per game. He has been amazing this year. And once again, Cameron Dickey putting on a show. He had 21 carries for 100 yards. No rushing touchdowns, but he had a 69-yard catch for a touchdown at the running back position. All around, just a great game from the Red Raiders, as well as Caleb Douglas with 114 yards receiving off 7 catches. So all around, just a great game for Texas Tech Red Raiders as they continue to be the Big 12 favorites this year. Moving on now to the Washington versus Maryland game. I had a 35-31 Washington victory. It was 24-20, low scoring than I expected. This game was just a complete disaster in the beginning for Washington, and they just couldn't get anything going. They were 3 for 3 in the red zone, and a horrible first half from Washington, as the score at one point was all the way down to 20-0 before Washington started their comeback and allowed no second half points. So just an absolute elite defensive performance from Washington, which we have not seen all year. Jonah Coleman, the running back from Washington, got locked up. 18 carries for 60 yards for him. Maryland really found a way to defend him in this game. And he really just couldn't find any openings running at all. But it didn't matter as Damon Williams found a way. 28 for 41 with 275 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, along with 55 rushing yards. Still, the O-line for Washington is still questionable, but this pass game is just so elite and so fun to watch, and I really just enjoy watching Washington on their pass game this season. Denzel Boston, another good performance, 6 catches, 70 yards, and a receiving touchdown, as well as their tight end, which he's also been pretty solid this year, averaging around 50 yards a game. Desmond Roebuck, he had 4 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown this game. So just a great all-around offensive performance in that second half. 24 total points in the second half for Washington. And Washington's defense also just absolutely locked up dynamic Malik Washington. He's had a great season thus far, but I'd say for the most part, Washington's defense really locked him up as he was 30 for 49. That is just absolutely insane. 30 for 49. Just not an impressive showing from him as the defense found a way. In the running game, for Maryland, they had nothing. Their starter, DeJuan Williams, had 12 carries for 26 yards. So that run defense was also just completely elite for Washington. I can't stress it enough. If this team seriously has a defense now, this is going to be one of the best teams in the Big Ten, as they have one of the best quarterbacks for sure in Demond Williams. He's a dual threat. Mikel Esteen had an interception in this game, his second of the year for Washington. And yeah, that pass defense and run defense has just really elevated its game for the Huskies in this one. Moving on, I didn't predict this one, but I have to acknowledge it. 42-3. Ohio State over Minnesota. I don't care. Minnesota, you look at the record, they're 3-2. They're one of the worst Big Ten teams. No, they're not. They got a good quarterback in Drake Lindsey. This guy is impressive. He's definitely one of the best running backs in the Big Ten, one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten. Big Ten's been full of amazing quarterbacks all season long. Julian Sayin, 23 for 27, 326 pass yards, 3 touchdowns. Everybody was telling me how we don't trust Julian Sayin yet. He hasn't thrown the ball deep. To be fair, he hadn't even got the opportunity to throw deep, but in this game, they gave him the opportunity, and he looked like a Heisman candidate the way he was slinging that ball to Carnell Tate. Carnell Tate had 9 catches for 180 yards and a touchdown. He had his most receptions ever as a Buckeye and most receiving yards as a Buckeye. They even got the backup in there, Lincoln Keenholz. He had a rushing touchdown, as well as threw a first completion for Quincy Porter, the 5-star, his first catch of the year so far. Bo Jackson again, he averaged 5 yards a carry and got a rushing touchdown. Still could see more running game from them, but I know they got it in their bag. Max Clare, this is the coming out party for him. First big game as a Buckeye. He came from being the number 1 target at Purdue to this Buckeye team loaded of receivers, and he found a way in this one with 5 catches for 63 yards. Really good game for him. C.J. Donaldson came into the year. He was the starter first couple games of the year, and he has been moved to second string. He had 3 carries, only 3 yards, but he got a rushing touchdown. He's more of the power back for the Buckeyes thus far. James Peoples, he got it in garbage time. Finally got something out of him. 7 carries for 60 yards. Moving over to the Minnesota end, they were allowed 162 yards of offense this game. They've been averaging 27 points thus far this season, and they've been averaging 350 total offensive yards and held to 160 by the best defense in all of college football, the Buckeyes. Darius Taylor, their starting running back, had nowhere to go. He was great last year, as many of you know. And speaking of this Buckeyes defense, you're going to hate me for it. I think this defense is more elite than their defense last year. The D-line is, in my opinion, better at stopping the run than last year. And all around, I just think it's a better defense from them. Yeah, in my opinion, you got Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, Peyton Pierce, Jermaine Matthews, Igba Nosen, Katie McDonald, Lorenzo Styles, Bo Atkinson, the best defender in the nation, Caleb Downs. I could go down the list. I forgot to mention Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson. But anyways, that's enough. These Buckeyes, they got an insane defense. Better defense than last year. I'll say it again. Moving on to the night game. Miami, Florida at Florida State. My prediction was 24-20 Miami. I was right on 28-22 Miami. This was a great game. I mean, really not a great game. I don't know why I said it was a great game. Malachi Toney out of Miami. This is a freshman receiver, and he just continues to prove. 7 catches, 110 yards, and 2 touchdowns in this game. Absolutely elite. The performances these wide receivers are pulling up at Miami have been elite and have really helped out back over this season. Carson Beck was 20 for 28, 240 yards, and 4 passing touchdowns. That is some elite arm talent shown. Miami's really just proving that when their run game couldn't get going in this game, Marcus Fletcher had 12 carries for 40 yards. Not the best. When their run game couldn't get going, though, their offensive game really got going. Their wide receivers, C.J. Daniels, 5 catches, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, I feel like this Miami offense just finds a way every week. They had 2 interceptions today on defense. Jacoby Thomas had 1, and then another one was Bryce Fitzgerald, his 3rd of the year against Thomas Castellanos, which is he's been great all year. He's been a dual threat. But in this game, he was 25 for 45. That is 20 incompletions. Just not a good game from him. He couldn't find anything. His running game was 14 carries for 60 yards. That's pretty good, but his passing game, just he couldn't find it, especially as his running backs had just no room to run in this game. Their starter, Gavin Sawak, had 11 carries for 50 yards. So, yeah, there was just no room to run for them, as that Miami D-line was just blowing up the running backs all night. We're going to move on to the Oklahoma-Kent State game. I didn't predict this once again, but I just wanted to mention it because I wanted to mention this game because everybody was talking about how they're worried about Michael Hawkins at quarterback. Yeah, he played pretty good in this game. I know he was 14 for 24. He did 10 incompletions, but he threw for 160 yards and 3 passing touchdowns, as well as 33 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown. I trust him. I know he's not as good as Mateer, but with this Texas game coming up, it's going to be a great game. Don't get me wrong. But I feel a lot more confident after this game, as Oklahoma's home in this game, even though they don't have Mateer. I feel confident in Hawkins to get the job done. I think he's good enough for that. So I just wanted to go to that point. Also, Kent State only at 135 yards. I know it's a low D1 opponent, but anytime you leave a team to under 150 yards, I don't care what team it is, that's impressive. So Oklahoma's defense continues to impress me. And yeah, I just wanted to go back to that point of Michael Hawkins. I trust him, to be totally honest with you. All right, so we've gone through Texas Tech, Houston. I picked that. I got that one right. Mississippi State A&M, I got that one right. Washington, Maryland, I got that one right. And then Miami, Florida, FSU, I got that one right. Moving on to Syracuse, SMU. This was a really good game. I picked SMU to win 38-34. It was a 31-18 win. Surprisingly, a low-scoring game for an ACC game. Kevin Jennings just found a way. Of course, he threw an interception like he always does, but he threw for 4 touchdowns, which was just really impressive to see. 285 yards and only 6 incompletions, which is really good for him, as he's known for throwing many inaccurate balls throughout the game. That is the least amount of incompletions he's thrown thus far. So definitely his best game of the year. And he couldn't really get anything going in the ground game. But this is an impressive win for SMU. I mean, look at this pass defense from SMU. Syracuse quarterback Ricky Collins, the quarterback taking over for Steve Angeli. 22 for 45, 280 yards. All right, let's start with that. 23 incompletions. That is insane. It's insanely bad. Okay, moving on. 1 passing touchdown, 3 interceptions. So just not a good game from him, as he had a little bit of a run game going. He had 60 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown, but that pass defense for SMU was just completely elite in this game. 3 interceptions by 3 different players. Amon Moss was one of them. That's his second of the year. So great to see that. Yeah, all around, this SMU pass defense was really great in this game. And it seems like SMU has a lot better of a pass defense than I expected them, as last year they were not impressive one bit. And yeah, that was a low-scoring ACC game. Not immune to seeing those type of games in the ACC. So that's my record right now in picks is 5-0. Okay. Moving on. Michigan State at Nebraska. I picked a 38-24 Nebraska win. It was a 38-27 Nebraska win. Aiden Childs got pulled in this game. He was having a horrific game. I'm really high on him, and I was really sad to see him get pulled. He had a really rough game. He started out the game 9 for 23, 85 yards, and 2 interceptions. I was really disappointed in them. He had his run game really going in this game, but I mean, 2 interceptions in the little amount of time he played is just really not what you want to see out of one of the best Big Ten quarterbacks, in my opinion. But I'll tell you what, Alessio Milivojevic, Milivojevic, the backup for Michigan State, came in and had a really good game. He was 6 for 7 with 71 yards and a touchdown. Maybe he's the answer. I mean, I know this is just one game and this you haven't seen much at all, but maybe this guy's the answer. I mean, I could be wrong, but he could definitely be the answer. This really wasn't a close game. I mean, the touchdown was in garbage time. It was a 38-21 game. So, well, yeah, the last touchdown was in garbage time. So just not much of a close game. But that Nebraska defense just impressed me, allowing Michigan State to only 240 yards and 2 for 14 on third down conversions. That is horrendous. So, all around, just great defensive game from the Cornhuskers. Raiola had a great performance. He took 5 sacks, though. I'm still worried about this O-line for Nebraska. I like Nebraska. I think they're a good team. I'm still questioning that O-line play. Yeah, I'm still questioning it. But Emmett Johnson, another good game. He had 13 carries for 80 yards, 6.4 yards a carry, 3 rushing touchdowns, and 6 catches for 40 yards. So, yeah, he's been great. Once again, he proves it. And a little bit of a coming out party for Naziah Hunter. He hasn't got the ball much this year as I expected him to. In this game, he had 4 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. So an impressive performance out of him. So, yeah. And Nebraska only had 260 yards as well. So just a weirdly low, high-scoring game. I don't know how this was really high-scoring. I guess there was a lot of turnovers that gave field position. But all around, just a defensive game that ended up being an offensive-heavy score. But if you watch the game, it's definitely not like that. Now moving on, Texas at Florida, 21-29 was the score in this. Florida won, and really DJ Lagaway just found his boots in this game. And like I said last week, if DJ Lagaway finds where he needs to go and he gets to the right place in this game, Florida's going to win. Florida's going to win. Lagaway didn't even run the ball in this game. It was the deep pass. It was the deep throws that won them this game. Multiple 50-yard plus bombs for Florida. They had 3 in this game. And a great performance out of Dallas Wilson. 6 catches, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Jaden Baugh, 27 carries, 110 yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. He had a gritty performance in this one. And that Florida offense just looked completely elite in this game. 500 yards. Absolutely insane. They were 7 for 14 on third down. Not the best, but they found a way. They were gritty. They were the grittier team. They were the tougher team in this game. This game wasn't as close as the score looks. I'm going to be honest with you. It wasn't. One of the touchdowns in this game was a very late touchdown by Contrivian Wisner, and this was really just not a close game. Arch Manning looked horrible. Horrible. He threw for 2 touchdowns. He threw for 263 yards, but 2 interceptions. He looked horrible. Texas has no running game outside of Arch Manning. Contrivian Wisner looks straight up horrendous. The O-line looks horrendous. And if Texas is going to be good, they need an O-line. They don't have it right now. They don't. They don't at all. They had 52 rushing yards against the Gators. 52. This is not what an elite team should be bringing out. This is not what a top 10 team should be doing. Just a very unimpressive, horrible game from the Longhorns. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. Texas needs a quarterback and an O-line. I'm not blaming everything on Arch, but they need a O-line if they want Arch to be somewhat decent. This is not a top 10 team, and I ranked them top 10. I fell into the clickbait. They're not a good team. They're not. They proved it game in game. Game in game, they just proved they're not a good team. They just aren't. And I'm really waiting on this team. I really am. Florida just looked like the better team in that game. I know it was at the Swamp. I know the Swamp is an extremely hard place to play, but this is just straight up embarrassing. embarrassing performance from Florida. From Texas. Embarrassing. Yeah. So now we're 5-1 on the picks for this week. All right, moving on. Virginia at Louisville. This was a 30-27 win for Virginia in this game. Chandler Morris once again just found a way. He really couldn't find his pass gaming too well in this game. He was 19 for 30, 150 yards and a touchdown. But that run game really just helped carry him to the finish line. Jamari Taylor had 70 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown. They really found a way in this one. He had the game-winning rushing touchdown. And Miller Moss, he just continues to just not be able to close out the games. He just throws the interceptions that are going to win him the game. And they also just have no run game at Louisville. No run game. They had 54 yards running. That is embarrassing. That includes sacks, but it's still embarrassing. They were 7 for 17 on third down. Virginia was 6 for 15, but Louisville was also horrible. Okay, we're 2 turnovers. Louisville all around just hasn't been good. I expected Miller Moss to come in. I expected him to be good as you're playing in the ACC. You're used to the Big Ten from last year. I know Miller Moss had a rough season last year, but I would expect him to still be better as you're in the ACC playing. You're not in the Big Ten anymore. So let's grow up a bit. We should be better in the weaker defensive conferences. And he just continues to just not be able to close out games, costly turnovers down the stretch, and just hasn't been able to close out games just in total. I thought this guy was a pretty good quarterback, but Louisville, he just hasn't been able to find his footing. I know he threw for 330 yards, but still, he just finds a way to get another turnover every game, which is just not a winning formula. Though I have to shout out Chris Bell, 12 catches, 170 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The Louisville wideout. So yeah, he's been great, but that's been the only bright side for them this year. Everything else has been just horrendous. Louisville, this is a padlock stat. As you know, Josh Pate does these. Louisville had 383 total yards. Virginia, 237. This is why the difference in this game is Miller Moss throwing that extra interception and Chandler Morris not. The 0 turnovers to the 2 turnovers was the difference in this game, and that is the reason Virginia won this game. I predicted Virginia to win 35-31. They won 30-27. Not the point. It was turnovers are the difference, guys. It's just true. It is the difference. It's been the difference, and it will continue to be the difference in college football. And that just completely cost them the game as well. And guess what? That turnover, it turned into a pick 6. Cam Robinson took it home for 6. I can't say it enough. Turnovers are differences in college football games. Louisville kicker Cooper Ranover missed a 42-yarder, but made a 51-yarder. Doesn't make sense. I don't know what happened. Another touchdown for Virginia was a touchdown fumble return. This is another reason we cannot be having a touchdown fumble return. We cannot be having turnovers like this. We need to be good with the ball. Turnovers lose games. They just do. So, that was the total game. That was the reason Virginia ended up winning this game in the end. It was the final piece of cake that just won them the game. It was the big reason. Moving on. Number 16, Vanderbilt. Number 10, Bama. Bama, 30-14 in this game. I had a 42-28 prediction. I was expecting Bama to put up more points. They had some offensive struggles, but found a way. They found a way, and they blew out Vanderbilt. They blew them out. They forced Diego Pavia to 2 INTs in this game, so he couldn't find anything going in this. He ran the ball well, but that was pretty much all he could do. Bama defense was impressive. You're holding this insane Vanderbilt offense 9th in points per game to 14 points. You got to be doing something right. You got to be doing something right. 2 interceptions, I'll say it again, from the Bama defense. Xavier Mincy had one. And then the other one was Keon Sabb. So some great pass defense from them. Just all around a great game from Bama. Their offense, I want more from them, but they had 500 total yards of offense. That's really good. I just expected them to have more. Jam Miller, like I said on the pod, he's going to be the difference in this game. He was. 22 carries, 140 yards, 6 yards a carry, and a touchdown. Ty Simpson threw for 340, 2 touchdowns and interception, but still wasn't his best game. It still wasn't. I think he's a Heisman candidate. That wasn't his best game. Oh, Alabama O-line. I still have questions. 4 sacks allowed for Simpson. You gotta protect your quarterback because sooner or later Simpson's gonna get injured and it's gonna be the O-line's fault. It's gonna be the O-line's fault. So let's figure it out, Kalen DeBoer. Your team is an elite offense, but let's figure out the O-line. Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard again both had touchdowns, both over 80 yards. Ryan Williams had 100 yards though. But still, these wide receivers are just elite receivers, as well as the tight end, Josh Cuevas, another Washington transfer. He had 3 catches for 35 yards. So good tight end game for them. We're moving on to the upset of the week. 37-42, UCLA takes down the Penn State Nittany Lions. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Jerry Neuheisel. He was a scout coach coming into this. Takes the reins at offensive coordinator and just turns on Nico Iamaleava back to even better than he was at Tennessee, to even better against an elite Penn State defense. They caught him sleeping in this game. They caught Penn State's defense sleeping. UCLA 435 yards of offense. Nico Iamaleava, listen to these stats. I smile when I listen to these because I feel bad for poor Nico Iamaleava. I'm going to be honest, I'm not like a huge fan of him, but I feel bad for all the hate he's got for going to UCLA and just getting just as much money or whatever. I don't even know what's happening, but we need to stop the hate. But anyways, Nico, 17 for 24, 166 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Listen to this. 16 carries, 128 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. UCLA unlocked a new source of offense. For the Bruins. Gary Neuheisel, he did. He really did. And this guy better be getting a high offensive coordinator job by the end of the year. I love him. He's a funny dude as well. And his dad was in the CBS booth watching this. Watch the replays. It's the funniest thing ever. His dad's like, let's go, Gary, let's go. And he's like, good play calling. I like the headset on. And he's getting all excited for him. Penn State's offense was held at 357 yards. I know that's a lot of offense, but, I mean, UCLA also, was allowing just as many points to New Mexico and Utah, so they've improved a bit they've definitely improved since the firing of Deshaun Foster, which I think is the difference for this team. I think UCLA, they're going to end the season. I think they're going to get in a bowl game. I could see them going 4-2 over their next couple games, and I hope they do because it would be a nice comeback story for everything. So, yeah, I really hope they can get a bowl game. I think they will. I think this is just going to turn on a switch for them. I don't think they're going to be an elite team. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They can't make the playoffs with 4 losses. But I do think that this is a bowl game. And this could be a top 25 team by the end of the year. We'll see. But I think the coaching was just a total problem for this team. And that firing just turned everything around. We need to discuss James Franklin. We have to. I'm sorry. We do. He's a horrendous coach. And I know people are talking about how he's going to get fired. Hate to say it to all you Penn State fans, he's not going to get fired. They're not going to fire him. They just won't do it. They won't do it. Because consistently year in and year out, he beats the team he's supposed to beat and he loses to this team he's supposed to lose to. He has never been able to get over the hump, though, of getting that signature win. But yeah, he's just a horrible coach. I'm sorry. I hate to go get on James Franklin, but I say it every podcast. He's got to find something because he doesn't. Everything is negative for this team, this Penn State team right now, and I don't even know what to say anymore. I just don't. All right, we're gonna move on. Clemson had a win at UNC, a little bit of a get-right game, but I'm not gonna call these guys are not a ranked team. They're just not. I get it. You beat a bad UNC team, 38-10, whatever. I just wanted to mention it because it's just a little bit of a good direction for Clemson. They needed it. I'll just tell you guys right now, Bill Belichick's just a complete failure at North Carolina. This wasn't supposed to work out. It's not going to work out. It already hasn't worked out. So we probably should have just realized this a little earlier, that he's not the guy. But whatever. Yeah, just wanted to say that. All right. I'm going to check some John Mateer news. I forgot to check before the podcast. Let's see the injury update. He's pushing to play versus Texas. So if he plays in this Texas game, okay, well, I'm not going to get to the predictions because that's for the Thursday pod, but that's enough talk. Thank you guys for listening. Please drop down comments below. I'd love to respond to them. Hope you have a good rest of your week, and I'll be getting a Thursday podcast out. I'm assuming we'll probably be around 50 minutes again. Yeah, thanks for being here, and this is Beyond the Bleachers with Grayson McQuaid. We are out.